that's the question. When we say, why do bad things happen to good people? Are we asking the wrong question?
I think when we're sitting here in this room, we're all believers. We all get it. Sovereignty of God. We can listen to that, jump up and down, and say, yeah, yeah. Even though we understand we have pain, we have bad things happen, it's difficult for people to understand. I mean, I used to be in a smaller town, and was pretty heavily involved in the community. So there were times the police would call me when families were in situations. I went with the police to go to grandparents whose grandson had been killed in a car wreck a few hours earlier, to break the news. They were good people. This is a pretty tough message to hear at that moment. I went with them. They called me early one morning when a young couple woke up and their infant son had died in the night, and they had no church. They had no, so whatever. The police called me, and so I show up, and it's kind of odd. I don't know these people, and they're asking that question, and somebody in their family who claimed to be a believer told them because they were living together out of marriage and had this child out of marriage that God was punishing them and taking their son away because it was their fault, and they're going, well, we're good people, we're what's going on. So it's different context when you go into someone's home and their world's just falling apart.
Yeah.
And how do you explain that? Well, God's sovereign, suck it up.
Yeah.
The problem is He's right, and that's not a problem. The truth is He's right. It's hard for people to understand that God is sovereign. He is God, but at the same time, He will yield His sovereignty to our will. And when I say that, I don't mean like we do whatever we want, but in a way He lets us do what we want. And when we're outside of God, we will do things that are harmful. We'll do things that aren't smart. We'll take guns and go into malls and shoot people. We'll drink massive amounts of alcohol and get in a car and run through a stoplight and kill an innocent family coming home from the mall. I don't know. It's.
Well, but I mean, some of those things don't have a rhyme or reason to them.
Right.
Like the infant son, dying in the middle of the night. That's not a crime. Didn't happen.
Right.
And
right.
The obviously the child didn't do anything to deserve this. The parents, the God that I know doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't God zapping them.
Yeah,
it was we're in a fallen world ever since Adam and Eve ate the fruit.
Right. We
have been dying, and so people get mad at God because they don't know who else to get mad at. And part of that's maybe just educating. You're mad at the wrong one.
Yeah.
The one who introduced sin in the first place, the one who introduced rebellion in the first place. That's the problem. And often we'll get mad at God, and we're going to run off and we go on the same rampages because, well, look what God did. That family imploded, and later on, and it was God's fault. And
well, I guess I would have, an easier time. If someone says, if someone said, God, why did you kill my baby? That's something different to me than if they say, why did you let my baby die?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
I think that's a lot harder to swallow. Like, I don't for a second believe that the Lord would have killed a child for absolutely no reason, But, I could see the family saying, honestly asking, why? Why did you let this happen? Because obviously
that's
the Lord,
a natural.
the Lord could, because if the Lord has the power that I believe that He has, obviously He could have not died. That could, it could have been prevented. So, I guess that's where it becomes a little shady for people, and myself included. I guess it's like you didn't kill the child,
right.
but you didn't stop it from happening either. So is it your will that I don't have a child, or is it just something that happens? Like, obviously He knew it was going to happen. Is there something to be taken from this, or is it just one of those things? Like, where's the line between is the Lord trying to teach me a lesson, or is this just something that happens? And maybe that is, just as Jeff was saying, that's a relationship with God question. That's a reading, God's word, and that's a prayer thing. But after you get done reading God's word and after you pray on it, and after you have a good relationship with Christ, maybe you can decipher that. But the people that it happened to, man, that's got to be hard to explain.
Right.
That's got to be hard to explain to them without them having a relationship with Christ, where the lines are, where the Lord, where the Lord stops and where He doesn't, or if He does.
This past week, I went to a hospital and visited someone who the day prior found out, there's cancer everywhere. I mean, everywhere. They're like, you have 10% chance. If we have radical treatment, you have a 10% chance. Or, you have a few weeks. What do you want to do? Well, this person chose, we'll go for the 10%. The whole family was, all of a sudden everybody's asking, well, she's a good person.
Yeah.
And when Cheryl and I together went and visited her, by that time she'd been able to process a little bit by the time we kind of, heard the news and we were able to get there. And she was kind of at peace, also understanding this might not go well.
Right.
But that's life. I mean, none of us are going to make it out of here unless Christ returns. But it's hard when it's my grandma or my mom or me,
right?
But it took them maybe that 24-hour period to kind of process. Well, you know what? That's just what happens.
Well, I think that's the thing, is those questions always come at a time where trying to understand that perspective is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people don't tend to ask, why me, God, when you're, stuck behind a guy at a train. I'm saying, oh, Lord, how did I get here? It's when you're dying. It's when there are consequences on the line. And now it's pretty tough to swallow sometimes, the hard fact that this life is not a permanent one.
And sometimes believers make it worse. The lady who says, well, God's punishing you for living in sin. Or the believer who says, that's not cancer, you have a demon in you.
Yeah, right.
No, actually, it's sickness.
Right.
It's because of you go backwards, Satan entered the world, sin. I heard it explained this way, and it's a really cool image if you can think about it. We all have one big pool of water we're drinking out of, and you take your cup of water and it's clean and you're drinking it. This is really great. You mess up your life, you whatever it is, you do stuff, and your little portion of water, suddenly it's just really gross because you've made this mistake and that mistake across the line. Well, you don't want to dump your dirty water in your water, so you go around to the other side and dump it in over there, okay? Because then you're good. And you come back to your area, but the problem is everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
Because none of us are good. That's the thing. There are no good people.
Yeah.
We're in a sinful nature, and we all cross the line, and we all rebel against a holy God. And so the whole pool is this big cesspool that we're drinking out of. So sometimes people do bad things to good people. Sometimes it's just bad things just happen because we're in this poison.
Yeah.
Until Christ comes back and fixes everything, it's just what it is.
Well, I think there's probably something to be grasped about the character of God there too. Like, He could step in and do some things here. He could do it obviously whatever He wants. And I think it maybe does speak a little on His actual character of, like, I gave you guys free will. Like, I'm not gonna make you do anything.
Exactly.
And so it's the good with the bad on that one. It's I'm not gonna make you believe that my son died for you. But if you do, good things are going to happen for you. This is a good thing for you in this life or the next. These are good things.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe the phrases like God's plan or God's will, sometimes we use to maybe comfort ourselves, maybe make our world seem like it has a little bit more direction than maybe it actually does. Because I think a lot of times if things go poorly, we want to believe that it's God doing it, because then we feel like, well, this is happening for a reason, and I'm being led, even if I don't realize that I'm being led. And I don't know that what we think of as God's will or God's plan isn't way more generic than, do what I asked you to do, and whatever way it comes across you. Like, I set this thing rolling, and I said it could happen how it's going to happen, It's not like he steps in and says, "Take that baby in the night." And that's a popular one. Well, God wanted you to come home. Well, He wants everybody to come home. I'm not sure His timetable is all that specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
I need Edward Martin now. Someone go get him.
Exactly. Granted, He loves you and He wants you in heaven, but said, "Oh, I just have to have him tonight."
In the spectrum of eternity, is 3 weeks or 6 months that much different than 99 years? Either
Yeah.
one's a drop.